I will admit that 2020 has seen some proliferation of dystopian aesthetics. You know, everyone's walking around in protective masks. There are like uh, shields around like cashier desks at stores. Now, like public parks have designated like sitting circles. Um, uh, but despite all of that, I'm not really much of a dystopic thinker. Um, I generally believe that things are almost always better than they were throughout history. Even in areas where things are legitimately bad, they're almost never worse than they were. You know, that's not to say that progress couldn't be faster, um, but things still progress for general betterment. Um, I think that um, there's this sort of like harmful belief in some modes of progressive thinking that assumes that uh, the mere act of like erasing like the current day's problems will automatically revert the world to some supposed historical state of goodness that is believed to have existed at some point in the past. It didn't exist. Like there was never a golden age. The Greeks wrote about the 5 ages of man. Um, it started with the Golden Age, Bronze Age, or Silver Age, then Bronze, Heroic Age, and then like Iron Age, which was the worst. That was when the race of man was at its weakest, and children were disrespectful to their elders. That was written like several thousand years ago, and they were already thinking that they were in the worst of all possible times. They were already thinking that the Golden Age was long forgotten. That's just how people are wired to think. It's not a new thing, So I'm thinking that uh, that can actually promote a sort of um, weakness in progressive attitude and action. It's that fallacy, right? And it makes you think that it's simpler than it is to reach the state of goodness you want to see in the world. But no, if you ever achieve that, you'll be achieving it for the first time, and it's still a worthy goal, but it's going to be more complicated. You can't just rely on the idea of falling back into some natural state of ecumenical bliss. You have when it gets put into place, it's going to be for the first time, and that's going to be weird. It's going to require more ingenuity instead of just mere willpower or whatever. Um, uh, all right, it's like this. Have you ever heard someone say that they wish that they could just go back to being the person they were in high school? But then you look at the person they were in high school and think, yeah, that's not really an improvement. Um, the I feel as though uh, like the push for societal change can sound like that at times. Um, but instead of high school, you have the 50s or whatever.